Hey everybody, welcome. This is the first beer channel or review that I'm doing. My name is John Henderson Pierre, um, and today we're going to be reviewing Ice House. Right over here was the founding of the ice beers, if you will, that really got the ice beer movement going back in 1994. Um, it is a beer that I consume quite a bit, particularly this time of year right now, as it's very humid outside. So, joining me to review this, Ronald J. Terrell. Some of you probably know him, Louisiana Beer Reviews. Hello, Jay.
Hello, hello, John.
So, tell me, give me a little history. I think I started a little bit with the history of this beer. Give me your view of this beer.
Yeah, now this beer was in 1993, and
Okay, let me turn that down.
it's allowed. Yes, but introduced in '93, first mass-produced American ice beer. It actually started with Molten Ice but, they came on there with Ice House from Miller, but they called it the Plank Road Brewery. And but of course, Plank Road Brewery is just a marketing thing because there is no such thing. It's just Miller, you know.
Right.
And it was sold initially as a premium beer, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the next year they came out with Red Dog as part of Plank Road Brewing, and it was sold as a premium, you know, along the level of like Budweiser or Miller Genuine Draft, like not a budget beer. And Ice House was heavily marketed. You might remember in 1993 they had a lot of commercials on television and radio, magazine articles. Magazine ads.
They had a Zamboni, if I recall, as one of their commercials. It wasn't the Penguin. I think it might have been, but it was
No, that was
mostly popular. Yeah, right. That was mostly popular during the hockey games. You saw that there was two guys talking about Ice House beer. You know,
Yeah, the Penguins.
Bud Ice.
Penguins were Bud Ice. Beware of the Penguins.
Right.
But they also introduced a light beer, which to me, with 100, I think it was like 143 calories, wasn't exactly light. It was called Southpaw Light. I never did try Southpaw. I did see it one time at a store up north, but it was only a 12-pack, and I couldn't get it in a single. And I said, well, I'll see it one day in a single, and I'll get it. Unfortunately for me, they canceled it because it didn't sell well. But I don't think I was missing too much. But it would have been something to try. They still do list Southpaw on the Miller website, but Miller will list a whole bunch of beers on their website, whether they're still produced or not, just as a comprehensive list. Like they'll show Miller Lite Ice and what awards it's won and all that. That hasn't been around for a long time. Ice House, after about 2 years, you probably remember they didn't promote it anymore.
No.
Slowly was repositioned as a budget beer. And like I bought this 12-pack of bottles at Walmart for $7.64 plus tax, which is typical right these days. They have changed the labels over the years. If you want me to show you the labels, here's the original Ice House bottle. Remember this one?
I remember that one.
Showing the old brewery.
Plank Road. Yep.
If you go to Milwaukee to the Miller compound today, they have a recreated building like that. And they still do have the caves next to it. These man-made caverns that they dug to. They used to keep the beer in there to keep it cold. They put ice. They had these little compartments around the caves where they would dump ice. It would take all summer to melt. But they blocked up most of the caves because they were scared of. I asked them why. I said, "Why did you block up all the other entrances?" Because you could see where they had doors to the side. And the tour guide said, well, they had problems where teenagers would sneak down in there and stuff, and they were figuring somebody was going to get killed one day, and it was going to be a big problem. So they just
Makes sense. Makes sense.
filled it up. You know, they might store stuff in the other caves. I don't know. They went digging around, and they said they found a bunch of old tools buried, like in the dirt, in the mud, and so they have those on display. But this was the original Ice House bottle.
Right.
Then around 1998, they tried to change the image to like this motorcycle gang type. Let me get off of Google Plus because that's going to keep chiming, and I don't want to go through that. Let's see. Wait, John Sharon says, "Sorry, guys, not home." That's okay. I'm gonna write him and say we understand. We
Okay.
under. Okay, type. Okay, we understand. All right, let me go just get off that because that'll chime. You know, that drives it crazy. So they changed the image to like a motorcycle gang type thing. See, can you see this?
I can see that, and you can see the 5.5 on the bottom of that.
What is that supposed to look like? Wasn't that kind of like tattoo type things people were wearing?
Kind of something like that, tattoo or sort of an image posting, you know, hey, we're rebel, you know, hey, this is a man's beer, you know, this is a tough guy's beer.
Ed Hardy. But that didn't really catch on, and I never thought it looked good at all. It looked tacky to me. Then in 2010 they gave up on that and they went to what you're using today.
Right. The current image.
Back to a more traditional look.
Yeah.
More traditional.
You got the snow.
With
you got the tree, and you got the snow. Looks like some Rocky Mountains, and looks like it's covered in snow, giving that sort of cold. Right.
It's the Ice House in Milwaukee from a different viewpoint, and it's more stately looking. They went back to more traditional design. For whatever reason, maybe they felt it was too dull. In 2015, and I knew about this back in August of 2014 because I was part of the consulting group that was working on they sent me these things sometimes, but you see, you don't know what they're asking you. So they'll ask you a series of questions, and then usually they'll just say, well, you're not what we're looking for this time.
Right. Right.
Because they might be trying to find out what flavored malt liquor. Like they might want to say, what do flavored malt liquor people look for? Well, I don't drink that, but you know how some people are. They want to participate in everything. So they'll just claim that they drink that in order to participate. So they'll ask you a bunch of questions. You don't know what they're getting at. And they'll just say, never mind. But when they asked me these questions, I said, yes, whatever. And then they said, okay, would you like to participate in this panel? And I said, yeah. And we'll pay you $5. That's what they always do. I said, okay. So that went on, and it lasts about 20 minutes, and they show you all these different designs. They did this about 4 or 5 years ago for the new Miller High Life design. But they show you all these different designs. Which of these do you think looks the best? And I guess it's designs that the artists send them. So they kept, and this was the one that I kept voting for. I said it looked the best. It had a lot of color. And then they were asking, why do you like this design? So I was saying, it's got a big bold lettering. You know, it's bold lettering. It's got a lot of color. It stands out on the shelf probably. And so then I said, I bet you that's the design they're going to go with. It's a little loud, but I think they wanted something that was going to catch people's attention.
Well, it has. And I've seen this a lot at Walmart. I've seen this a lot at, you know, Greer's, Rouse's, you know, and I think with a lot of these style beers, you know, when you see the bold lettering and the multi-colors and everything, you know, sort of the really, and it's kind of grayish, you know, sort of a multicolor. It's blue, it's, you know, red. You know, if you notice with all the ice beers, this one and
almost
even
blue and silver,
right, you know, to give it that bold look and that bold, you know, lettering and say, hey, you know, this is a bold beer. Try it, you know, you like it. So
when that design came out, a few months ago, I said, I knew that's the one they were going to pick. You notice they changed the red. It uster be like a burgundy. Now it's brighter red, like a
it is. It is
like crimson, like Alabama crimson tire, crimson, a little brighter. Anyway, I just wanted to review it. I've been drinking this for 19 years. What about you?
I've been drinking this on and off, you know, and you know, before you know, and I knew about the ice beer craze again, and but then you kind of, it was sort of passe. Then I kind of stuck to the usual lighter stuff, you know, a few craft beers here and there, but usually it was the lighter stuff, the natural lights, the Bush lights, you know, the Miller lights, you know, Bud lights, you know, and those are the ones that you you know, stayed with. But over the last 3-4 years now, you know, I've been starting to um, really kind of, you know, admire a lot of these these ice beers because you know they're not strong. Outside this one is 5.5. Let's see, natural ice, Keystone Ice, I think is 5.9.
Yeah.
You know, these are, you know,
Bud Ice is
this is
5.
they're very good. They're very good. Bud Ice is 5.5 or 5.9, I think it is. I'm not sure what Bud Ice is. 5.5, right? And they're very good. And the fact that you know they're about reasonably priced as some of the beers that I mentioned earlier, particularly the lighter beers, the ones I mentioned like Natural Light and you know and whatnot. You know, so they really have a good standing to me. And again, ice cold. When they say it, they mean it. You got to have this at ice cold temperature.
Yeah, when you
They
told
will
me,
if it warms up, you're done for.
yeah, you told me when you told me you wanted to do this examination review, I went and put mine in the freezer.
Mm-hmm.
Because last night I put one in the freezer for 30 minutes while I went and took a bath and everything. And
Mm-hmm.
when I got it out the freezer and I poured it in this glass, boy, it was so good for the night.
Yes, it was. It is.
You drink it out of the 18-ounce.
Yeah, I've got the 18-ounce of a bottle right here. And it's actually quite good in the bottle than the can. Maybe it's just me, but you know, I'm enjoying it in the bottle right now.
Yeah, and I'm curious to know if the 18-ounce bottle is going to have a different design. So I'm going to be on the lookout for that.
Well, this was interesting.
A little bit different.
Mm-hmm. Right. And it was interesting because when I went today looking for this, you know, again, Walmart, I didn't go to Walmart, but I had stopped at this convenience store and, you know, all they had was most of the cans, you know. And then when I went to this one store, they had this in 18. And I was kind of shocked because you mostly in a 24, because I've seen this in a 24-ounce bottle or 16-ounce bottle, excuse me.
Yeah.
Or a 25-ounce can. So this was kind of rare to have, you know, to see this like in an 18-ounce bottle, and I'm like, you know, wow, okay, so
yeah, and around New Orleans they have that around New Orleans, but it's not as common as it used to be. The
right.
18-ouncer, but it is around.
And I think the breweries like Miller and even Bud are realizing, and you saw this with their yearly their yearly rankings of the top 20 best-selling beers.
Yeah,
and I know they're not in the top 10. But these ice beers, you know, I'm not sure if ICEHOUSE was on the list. It might have been, but I know I saw Bud Ice on that list, and it shows there's a deep affection for these beers.
And Natural Ice was also in that top 20 list.
Mm-hmm.
And now this is a brochure that Miller sent me. I wrote him a letter years ago, or I called him on their 1-800 number, and I said, "Could you give me information about your beer?" Now, if you do that today, they'll just say, "You could look at our website." You know,
right?
They don't want to pay to ship these things out. This is a really fancy brochure, and I kept all this stuff because I wasn't about to throw it away. And this is a 1993 brochure. And back in these days, they used to use the corn grits. I think they went to corn syrup about 6 or 7 years ago. But they divide their beers up into different segments. They have the low-calorie segment, which, of course, was Miller Lite. Now, one segment, they call this the premium segment.
Mm-hmm.
And the beers in the premium segment were these two. I'm sure you recognize these.
Of course, which I've been seeing MGD starting slowly come back.
Yeah,
you know, in certain stores, which I'm kind of glad. You know, I thought it was a very good beer.
Then ICEHOUSE.
Right.
And what they say about ICEHOUSE here was this. Want me to read this real fast?
Go ahead.
It said, Miller developed and introduced ICEHOUSE, the first American ice brewed beer in 1993, the year this brochure came out. ICEHOUSE is traditionally brewed, fermented, and just before aging, its temperature is lowered to below freezing. Ice crystals then form to seal in ICEHOUSE pure, bold taste. And, of course, the alcohol. Now, that's the real reason they do it, to make it higher alcohol.
Right.
But they said, as with Canadian ice beers, and they're the ones that started it, The unique ice brewing process achieves the beer's smoothness and an alcohol content that's slightly higher than that of other premium brands. ICEHOUSE has an alcohol content of 5.5%. Bye-bye. And then the last little part here. ICEHOUSE is marketed under Miller Brewing Company's original name, the Plank Road Brewery. A lot of people thought it was a separate company that Miller bought. No, it was not.
It's all one.
To showcase the uniqueness and specialty beer. Now listen to this. The specialty beer characteristics of ICEHOUSE. Well, today it's not considered a specialty beer, but 22 years ago it was.
Right.
Kind of
just the same with remember when Natural Light came out, that was considered a one of a kind, sort of, light beer, but now, now here we are a couple of years later. How long? 77. Now we're almost 38 years. Natural Light has been on in existence, and now it's considered a, sort of a poor man's light beer.
Yeah. Here's the below premium segment. This is what they call the below premium segment.
Okay.
In other words, the cheap beers, and what they had there is Miller High Life, which is sold as a lower price beer these days. Miller, although they say on this brochure, in some markets it's sold as a premium beer. Milwaukee's Best and Milwaukee's Best Light, and we know what's been added to that, the ice. And then this one here that we no longer see.
Meisterbrow. I remember that back in the 90s. Oh, yes.
And unfortunately,
I had it at a wedding back in 93, 94, I think it was. It was a wedding I was at, and I had that. It was quite good. I missed that beer.
Oh, yeah. You used to be able to go to the supermarket, and they would always have it in those 24-pack suitcases, right? And it was always the cheapest suitcase. But to me, now people will say this and that about Meisterbrow, but to me, it was a really good, enjoyable beer. I didn't see anything wrong with it.
No.
And what I've read about type of beers is that Miller and Budweiser, Anheuser-Busch, the beers like Bud Ice or Natural Ice and Milwaukee's Best, they're not really brewed any cheaper than their mainline beers like Budweiser or Miller Genuine Draft. It's just that they only choose to sell them at a cheaper level. You know what I'm saying? Like it's brewed according to good quality standards. They just sell it as a cheap beer because they figure they sell a lot of it. In other words, it might cost the same amount of money to brew both, but they sell this one high up and they sell that one low.
Well, my thing of this, Jay, is that with these beers being in the top 20, I'm surprised they're not, the beer companies, particularly Anheuser-Busch, InBev, and even Miller, are not pushing this more. Even during days like this, here we are in the summer, where they can buy some ad time on one of these sort of niche sports during the summer months, whether it be soccer, tennis, whatever, and really promote these beers. Again, they're making money for them. I know they're not in the top 5 as they're, with majority of those beers in the top 5, top 10 are mostly light beers, but they're not, they're in the top 20, they are making money for them. Why not go out, promote and sell them and just say, hey, this is a pretty good beer. We're not ashamed of it. We sell ICEHOUSE, we sell Bud Ice, yada, yada, yada. Let's push it. Let's sell it.
You remember about 12 years ago when, if they used to have the World Poker Tour on TV, they would always have it sponsored by Milwaukee's Best Light.
Right.
But I guess they figured it was cheaper just to not promote it and they would still sell. So I don't know. But apparently when they stopped doing all the ads for Milwaukee's Best Light, the sales did drop. So
yeah,
but maybe they just don't care. I don't know. I guess they figure ICEHOUSE sells well enough. Maybe it makes enough profit without any help that they just let it coast. I don't know.
In my community, right where I live at right here, only one store had it. The other stores, other service stations, whatever, did not. Well, 2 of them, I should say. There's at least about 6 stores that are right near me, convenience stores, service stations, whatnot. And I only found them in 2 stores. I found the 6-pack of this in 12-ounce cans and the 16-ounce. And then, of course, the bottles, where I picked up today. So it tells you that it's there, but, it's not there in a lot of stores compared to, Keystone Light or Keystone or Natural Light, Steel, Mickey's,
Yeah, Mickey's is kind of a low level beer. I don't even think Mickey's is sold in my town. Oh, it's sold at Racetrack here. That's it. Winn-Dixie, I'm not sure if Winn-Dixie still carries Ice House. Walmart does, and Bavarians does, and only in 12 packs of bottles, whereas natural ice is only in 12 packs of cans.
Right.
And I asked the Miller guy, I said, how does Ice House do? He says, it trickles off the shelf. He said, there's a couple of old guys that buy it. He said, but it's not really a big seller. Like
old guys.
Yeah, and us. You know, people are probably 70 years old that buy it.
Right.
But like I was at Walmart last week when I bought the new bottle design, and they still had some of the old labels on there. They had 2 of the new and 2 of the old. They're trying to get rid of the old. But I looked at one of the things and it said June 23rd or June 30th. I said, well, it's past the best. It's already past the Best Buy date. They're just trying to hope somebody will buy it without looking.
Speaking of which, Jay, I'm sorry to interrupt, but the Grolsch that I finally got my check from Miller Coors on that, only $5 it was, but still, you know, I thought it'd be more, but you know, but you're right, you know, was that they kind of feel, hey, you know, let's just get rid of the beer, the Grolsch, you know, even though it's not our big seller, but our other beers are big sellers, you know. So,
what is your Best Buy date? Now, mine is October something. What does yours say?
Let me take a look here.
Mine's October 12th, and it was made in Fort Worth because it starts off. Oh, wait a minute now. Take that back. Mine's October 12th. Yours will have it.
Mine's October 15th, 2015.
Your bottle says October 15th?
Yeah.
Wow. And mine's October 12th, and I got the new label. So what's that telling me? They had a bunch of labels left over for those 18-ounce bottles, and they were not going to use them all. They were not going to start the new label on the 18-ounce bottles till they finish up with the old labels.
Exactly. Exactly. How clever is that? Those folks.
Oh, my bottle was actually made in Albany, Georgia. Excuse me.
Okay.
As it says 07. The code for Albany is 07. The code for Fort Worth is 04.
Okay.
There's a code below the date.
Okay. The code says 07.
Albany.
Mine says 07.
Albany, Georgia. You're closer to Georgia than I am. Well, do you think people that drink regular old beer would find that Ice House is pretty easy drinking? It's not too strong or harsh, don't you think?
It's not. And again, just like, look, Mickey's, as I said, and I know you and I have disagreed on this, but I think Mickey's 5.6, you know, I think it's, to me, not a malt. You know, I think it's just a regular beer can match with either with this or, you know, with this or even with Bud, you know. I think it's very easy drinking. Again, ice cold is you got to have it, you know. I think it's smoother when it's ice cold than when it's at, say, you know, maybe 45 degrees, you know, versus where you got to have it at 30 or, you know, 30 degrees. You got to
people say let the IPAs warm up, but you don't let Ice House warm up.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Compare it to the Bud Lights and the Budweisers, where Bud is like 5%, but the other light beers are like between 4.6. You know,
It looks like any other lager beer, don't it? Oh yeah, you got drinking it straight up. It tastes kind of sweet, but it's not overly sweet. And my friend Paul, you know Paul that joins us on my channel sometimes. I feel bad for him because it doesn't look like they sell Ice House Edge in Houston. But he said,
which would be considered an ale, right?
In Texas,
it's
not really an ale; it's a strong lager. But he said, "Man, I love Ice House." He said, "I love that beer." He said, "That beer is so smooth. Like one of the beers I grab when I want something that's so smooth and easy to drink." He said, "I love beers that are smooth and easy to drink." So he just loves Ice House and Bud Ice. He says one of the smoothest beers he's ever had. And I said, "Man, me too. I can just drink Ice House all the time." And I'm drinking this right here, and I'm about to take the last go, and I love it. It's dry, but it's not too dry in the finish.
And the thing up with this beer too, what I like also, you can pair it with anything. You can have it with wings. You can have it with spicy Chinese food, Asian food. You can have this with a sandwich and some chips. You know, it's a beer to me that is good with all of those things.
Yeah, but Rate Beer says it's a 1 out of 100.
Well, Right Beer and Beer Advocate. Sometimes I just like want with these guys. I mean, are they beholden to the craft beer folks, or are they just anti Bud, anti the BMCs? I don't know. So
How could it be a 1 out of 100? You know what I mean?
you
It's
know,
like, how could you drink it? It's so easy. I would give it a much higher score. I'm rate. I know you wanted to do a review. I would give this at least a B plus. I think the worst you could say
I
about it
think
is
a
that
good.
it's very good.
I think A minus B plus to me. I think it's a very good beer. And again, 5.5. You can't go wrong with that versus 5.9 if you're trying to you know, want to chill and maybe a couple hours later you want to do something that might be physically demanding or whatever, and you don't have to worry versus a beer that is say 5.9 or up,
It's
you
not too
know.
heavy, you know. And look at all the medals. It won a bronze medal at the Great American Beer Festival in '94
Hmm.
and in 2005.
Right.
It won a silver medal in 2002 at the World Beer Cup, a silver medal in 2006 at the GABF, a silver medal in 2000. Okay, I'm just going to read all the years. It's actually won a gold medal in '03, a gold medal in '07, a gold medal in '96, a gold medal in 2006, a bronze medal in 2012. It won a silver medal just last year at the
And
World Beer Cup.
and and what category they're in? Are these our specialty loggers or they're in like
Okay, I'm going to read the categories: dry
okay,
lager,
dry lager.
specialty lager,
Okay.
cream ale, which there ain't no cream ale, but that's what it won in.
Really?
It was voted a silver medal in the cream ale category in 2014, last year at the World Beer Cup. Hey, well, they said cream ale. They must have thought they were in Texas. So how could it win all these medals?
and,
Bronze,
and still get and still
silver,
get dissed.
bronze, silver, gold. You're telling me these judges at this festival are drinking this beer and talking about how horrible it is? I mean, come on, man, get real.
Just like the people who complain about the malt liquors when they drink Steel or Hurricane, they win all these awards, and then for some reason, the reviewers or those on the bros or people in Beer Advocate or Rate Beer, sort of kind of give the finger to these beers, and
Right.
I said, well, they win these awards, so they must be doing
Schlitz
something
malt,
right.
Schlitz malt liquor,
Hmm.
Silver Thunder malt liquor. They won gold and silver medals at these beer competitions. Why? The judges drank Schlitz malt liquor and said, "Oh, this is really bad. I'm gonna give it a gold." I mean, you know why? Because the people don't like the style, and so people on Beer Advocate and Rate Beer will say, "Yeah, but malt liquor suck." Yeah, to you.
Because of and there it is, the name malt liquor. That's what it is. Instead of being called a specialty lager or strong beer or high gravity beer, they should call it instead of malt liquor. But I'm wondering, what? Maybe I need to get on these panel and review some of these beers. I need to get regular folks like you and me to review these. Instead of
Yeah, but I mean,
because
at the beer festival and the World Beer Cup, they apparently do have some sensible people, right? Because they have these categories: light beer,
yeah,
regular beer, oak aged ales, IPAs. You know what I mean? Creeks,
right,
Belgian quadruples. So it's all different styles. I don't know why people can't grasp that, right? Everybody doesn't
right.
like the same type food, right? Everybody don't like the same type beer.
No, exactly,
So anyway,
exactly.
to me,
So.
it's really good, and I never get tired of drinking Ice House. But
Now, Ice House, I know. Also, with Ice House, I know that with beer is that that when it's really heated, not heated, but basically the 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 process of brewing this, and I see the sign ale on the bottom on my beer on the bottom here. It's not, doesn't it doesn't make you feel like you're wobbly. To me, and people, some few people that I know say is a malt liquor. It's not, but you
no,
could drink like three of these, you still be okay.
It's a malt liquor in the sense that it's above 5% alcohol.
Right.
Because that's the old
Right.
rule. But
So,
it's certainly not an ale. Mine says the same thing, ale. They only call it an ale because they're not allowed to call it a beer. So the U.S. government, the United States government will say, you can't call that a beer. Beer can't be above 5%. So they say, Miller says, what about ale? Oh, yeah, well, that's okay. And ale is, it's not even brewed like an ale, but, you know, I'm sure Miller says, look, just put ale on it. Nobody looks at the side of the label anyway.
I'm going to walk through that. You got time.
okay. So, what's your final thought right now on final thought on this beer?
My final thought is that it's not too strong, it's not too heavy, only 153 calories. It's easy drinking, and the price is right. So I have no complaints. I am so favorable towards ICEHOUSE, which is why I've been drinking it for 19 years. What's your final thought?
My final thought again, it's great. $7.64. You said you paid for yours. This I paid like $1.79 for this at a convenience at a service station.
That's high.
You know, it's what $1.79?
Yeah, because around here, if I find it, it'd be $1.19.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I need to relocate to Louisiana.
Yeah.
So
some stores have it for 99 cents for that bottle.
Yeah. So $1.79 for this one, but you know, it's like you said a couple of years ago. You know, you got these guys that you know, they'll. I mean, well, it was already priced, but you have some places where they don't price things, and you say, hey, well, how much does this cost? And then they'll look you up and down and say, okay, all right, it's this price. You know,
I don't shop at those places because they look at it and they try to figure how much they can scam you for.
Exactly.
When I go to Racetrack, the price is on the tag.
Exactly. Racetrack, Circle K here, or even the Kangaroo service station. Some of these the price is right, shows you directly, and you know. Yeah, but you know, like I said, good old America, capitalism, or fleecing of America, as they like to say. But
yeah. Well, I appreciate you inviting me over to your channel.
Anytime, and hopefully I may do some more because I got a couple of craft beers that I got here that I bought the other day at Rouse's that I may do a review of possibly tomorrow, if in the morning. You know, I'm trying to sleep in because I got to do some stuff tonight. But anyway, this was a wonderful review, guys. I'm glad you guys tuned in and watch ICEHOUSE. Give it a shot. Don't let people tell you, oh, it's horrible. Just let it, see for yourself, and you tell us what you think. So, but anyway, if you want to leave a comment, you can, and tell us what you think. So, thank you for watching this video channel of ICEHOUSE Beer. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, folks.